There is a place much worse than the dark web. The internet is an amazing place. There are endless opportunities, things to see, to read, friends to make, and so much more. But there are bad places, too. We all know that, but no one knows the true extent of the terror. The truth. I have to post this here because I don't have long, but I'll tell my story in full. You see, I'm one of those computer kids, fascinated by technology. I could program the universe if you gave me enough money. I get straight A's at school, and my computer science teacher loves me. Safe to say I'm pretty skilled when it comes to the internet. My knowledge of tech and the internet has led to a certain fascination with the deep web and dark web. I managed to burrow my way in there a few years back, and I've been a habitual surfer ever since. Despite common tales of snuff, rape, child porn and all that, I've not continually seen much extreme stuff on the dark web. Instead, it seems to be a conglomeration of weirdos who want people to shit on them, and occasionally the odd pedophile. But overall, the dark web is a small part of the net with a bunch of empty websites and links floating about in cyberspace. That is, unless you know where to look. I have, out of morbid curiosity, visited places that I perhaps shouldn't have. Once, I was in chat room, bored out of my mind, and asked a bunch of other nameless, faceless dark web surfers if they knew any of the really fucked up places. The responses were disturbing. Links to websites with things I had never heard of, child porn for sale, nuclear warheads, up to $100 million, live snuff films, hitmen for hire, etc. One of the users even linked to something called Daisy's Destruction, the title of which was enough to put me off. You see, for desensitized folk, and I too thought myself desensitized, this may not sound like it's overly terrible, but to actually see those things, I can imagine it destroying people. And, if you don't have the technological capability of protecting yourself and your information from the bad people as they often term themselves, you can end up in serious trouble. Not to mention, the feds constantly try to catch people snooping about. It's safe to say, the dark web can be a terrible place. A collection of the world's most evil people. And I thought I'd seen it all, but man, I was wrong. There is another kind of terror that few people talk openly about. It's the purest form of fear, and no, it's not fear of the unknown. It's the one thing all organisms continually try to avoid. It's the fear of it that drives evolution itself. The end. The end of life. The end of everything. It's the fear that we're obsessed with, apocalypse theories, the big freeze, alien invasions, nuclear war hypotheses, so much more. It's the fear of not existing that we, and all other life forms, strive to escape. And it's the end that I found. Let's consider the iceberg theory. Roughly 4% of the internet is at the safe zone. Below that is the deep web, which makes up about 90%. Then at the very bottom of the iceberg is the dark web. But what I found, by comparison, is like the Challenger Deep. The abyssal zone, far beyond the safe and warm light of the internet. It started 2 days ago. I was at the bottom of the iceberg again, when I came across a small link. There was nothing special about it, other than the fact that it was colored yellow. I clicked it. Suddenly, my computer screen lit up with some kind of 3D simulation, a 360 degrees view, and it looked like the Matrix digital rain. Computer code in a language even I had never seen was pouring, and as it pooled at the bottom of the simulation, it formed a sentence. Access denied. You do not have permission to access this region. Well, I wasn't having that. I grinned wickedly. Game on. I searched around the simulation for anything at all, but the digital rain had seeped away. Suddenly, though, at one end of the simulation, a gap opened. At this point, I was convinced this was some kind of VR video game. I was too busy figuring out if I could get access to wonder whether or not I should. The gap gradually grew wider, letting in blue light from the surrounding area, and I began to see links to documents. They were nearly all named with random strings of letters and symbols. All except one. The archive. I clicked on it. It opened a document titled Earth, 4.5 gigaamperes, 2040 AD, and my interest was immediately captured. I scrolled through the document, which seemed to be a generally basic timeline of the history of the Earth, but with some scientific declarations that I was not familiar with. I realized that it would take me an incredibly long amount of time to scroll through 4 billion years of history, so I searched around for anything else. The pages with the timeline on were surrounded by that same language. One that I didn't know. Aha! In the top right, I noticed what looked vaguely like a search bar, so I clicked on that, and typed in 2002, the year of my birth. The pages seemed to shoot upward at Mach 50 before halting on one page, where 2002 was one of the years listed. I was, oddly, shocked to see that it listed the major events of that year. North Korea admits the development of nuclear weapons in defiance of the treaty. NASA's 2001 Mars Odyssey space probe begins to map the surface of Mars using its thermal emission imaging system, and every other major event that went down in 2002. After scrolling through the following years, they too had all major events listed. What I saw next was unnerving. The years that hadn't happened yet were listed, as were their events. 2021 to second wave of disease kills 6 million. My heart was racing, I was eager to read on. 2025 first contact with extraterrestrial life made. 2028 explosion in advanced technology leads to the terraforming of Mars. Climate change solutions proposed to UN with success. 2035 first humans sent to Mars. Even population distribution. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Was this just some made-up BS, or was it real? I managed to find it easily enough, but was that yellow link temporary? What was something like this doing on the dark web? After several hours of reading about amazing future achievements of humanity, the timeline ended completely at 2040. 2040 the end. What? At this point, I relaxed. This surely wasn't real. No way. It was just one of the weirder things on the internet. But as I was about to click off and return to the safe, normal surface web, a message appeared. My screen turned a deep, navy blue, and a long string of white words lay before me in a chatroom. Hello, Jack, at 2334 Charles Avenue. We are the Veil, Section 20, MW, Earth. We notice that you found the archive, and props to you. It isn't normally that easy. In fact, you're the second human being to have done so. The first human did it all the way back in February 2014. Both times, your access was made possible because of the Sunflower link, which happens every so often. It seems there has been a breach in the code, a result of fairly poor human technology. We're working to fix that. Unfortunately for you, you have accessed our database, and reviewed the archive, which you do not have permission to do. Our team are conferring at this moment to decide the best course of action. We are considering your nature. It is okay to make mistakes, because you're human. We are not. The moment I had finished reading this, the message vanished and my computer blacked out. I was frozen still. They knew my name, which isn't possible. I never, ever use my real name on the internet. They knew my address, even though I have multiple concrete VPN servers directing my location elsewhere. What the hell? We are not. Slowly, I stood up out of my desk chair, walked over to my bed and lay down. I switched on my lamp. I felt more comfortable in the light. It's been 2 days. I haven't touched my computer, nor have I heard from the Veil. But I know. I know they feigned their consideration. I've seen what I shouldn't have, I know the end is coming. I need to escape now. But I didn't just believe them because they knew my name and address. I believed them because they said I was the second human to have discovered them. Using my phone I scoured the web for the Veil in Section 20, MW, Earth, looking for said other human, but nothing came up. But then I tried something else. I searched, redacted, and the result was a name and some kind of code. Zari Ahmad Shah. MH370. That was all. I know what I have to do. I'm sorry.